seri festival daring terbesar di Indonesia, Indonesia Online Fest Volume 2. An online festival experience by PK Entertainment. Pada volume kedua kali ini akan dimeriahkan oleh Basuki Cahayapurnama, Dipa Barus, Dimas Beck, Ben Kasyafani, Nusa Official, Jovialda Lopez, Didit Maulana, Kezia Alethea, Monica Ivena, Misera, Rinaldi Yunardi, Diva The Series, Ucu Pop, Tika dan Ujo, Three Souls, Rahmania Astrini, Yotari, Bernard Binata, Abram Al, Patrick Owen, and many more. Disiarkan secara langsung melalui informasi lebih lanjut kunjungi www.indonesiaonlinefest.com.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Indonesia Online Festival Volume 2. It is an online festival experience by PK Entertainment. Back with me, Amelia Yahya. Senang sekali bisa berada di sini untuk menjadi moderator di sesi ini ya. And on this session, we'll be getting a scoop with some industry experts for a good 45 minutes, as well as dig deeper into the world, this time of fashion. How to be fashion forward with fashion designer Patrick Owen. First, a little bit info on Patrick. Patrick ini lahir tahun 1989 dan merupakan desainer muda Indonesia yang karya-karyanya telah mendapat recognition dari dunia fashion Indonesia. Koleksinya telah tampil di berbagai majalah fashion ternama dan beberapa desainer Indonesia pun memakai rancangan-rancangannya. Nah, bagaimana kisah Patrick Owen yang terbilang cepat untuk mereguk sebuah kerja kerasnya di dunia fashion industry ini? Dan juga bagaimana pula pandangannya tentang fashion itu sendiri? Mari kita simak dengan mewawancarai Patrick langsung. Hello Patrick, how you doing today?
I'm good. Hello, Amelia. How are you all?
Very well, thank you. So Patrick, during this unprecedented pandemic, COVID-19, what is your routine now?
I still keep myself very productive. I think it's a good time to step back and review on all of your work, but at the same time, keeping yourself productive, coming up with solutions to overcome what's going to happen next. I think it's really important. Staying active, not just physically, but mentally as well. Because I have I've seen a lot of my friends who are just staying very fit physically, but business wise, and also in terms of business activities is almost zero activities.
Yeah.
I would love to encourage my team and my friends to start getting active again and to think about what is to happen next so that the economy will recover faster as well.
Thank you, Patrick. And with all of us right now being forced to be confined at home, what has your working from home schedule been? Have you become busier? Or what kind of a habit that you have applied to yourself and your schedule that has helped you to become more productive?
Um, at the very initial stage, I must admit that I had a moment of break, a quite a good 2 or 3 weeks break. I didn't do much.
Mhm.
Um, it was just sleeping and resting and thinking about what to do next. And then after that, we started on a campaign, Patrick Owen Quarantine Diary 2020. It
Mhm.
was talking about how we could stay fun, fashionable, and healthy at the same time at home using simple design, simple production. So at this point of time, when we can't do much with the social distancing and work regulation as well, we try to simplify our operation and to amplify more on the message. So that's the key strategy for Patrick Owen. In terms of my own personal habits, um, not very good. I've been eating a lot at home. Meeting and eating has become a habit. So I think that is something that I would have to watch out. But other than that, it has been fine. Meeting over Zoom has become a norm now. From bad connection problem to whatever technical problem, we managed to overcome it. And I keep telling my team and myself as well, at time like this, we can't possibly keep complaining about not meeting people and stuff like that, but rather to think about how we can meaningfully, digitally meet and connect with one another. So not just a Zoom session with you today, but like we really talk about things and get connected in a meaningful way via digital platform as well. That's the best we can do now.
Exactly, Patrick. And I could definitely relate to you when it comes to the meeting and eating habit. Because if you saw my desk right now, it is lined with bruschetta and a side of peanut butter biscuits.
Oh
So
dear.
I'm getting going through the same thing, huh? What is your
Yeah.
usually what is your favorite snack when you do your Zoom meetings?
Oh, I love tomato chips.
Huh.
I forgot the name of the brand name, but tomato chips. That's something that I binge on, and then I'll mute myself and keep crunching on stuff.
Oh, Patrick, it's not potato, it's tomato chips.
Yes,
Okay, huh. Snacks by Patrick Owen. I'll definitely check that out.
I'll send it to you right away.
Thank you. Now, Patrick, looking at your background, I saw that you're actually a law graduate and you
Mhm.
had a very promising career in law, but then you shifted the reins and then you changed to fashion. What made you do this? What inspired you to dive into the fashion world as opposed to staying in law?
Okay, so there are two questions here that we're talking about. I think the first one is what is the definition of a promising career, and
Yeah.
also what inspired me into fashion industry. The first question, I think I would like to redefine uh, prom what a promising career is to me. Definitely in terms of monetary terms, that is something that is at one of the top hierarchy that we're
Mhm.
talking about. Um, but for me, it's more than that. it's also about opportunity growth opportunity, and also the satisfaction and the pride in doing the things that you do. And it's very interesting that I have been asked a lot of time about this. But to me, fashion is also a business. Um, so it requires strategy. It's also, we also deal with contracts and legal works as well. So it's very interesting why people keep asking me that, but I sort of understand and will address that.
Mhm.
But what I'm trying to say here is that I don't think that fashion industry would garner you any lesser economic um, uh, environment or
Mhm.
any lesser satisfaction. In fact, I think I'm doing better than before. All add up. In terms of monetary terms, satisfaction, pride in my work. Uh, I consider those three things as the main reward in my work.
Mhm.
And when I first started, I knew fashion in a very, very superficial level. But I'm a person who is very adventurous, and I like things that are outside of my norms, outside
Mhm.
of the society norms as well. I like to challenge perspective, and fashion was one of those things that was sparking a lot of chemistry within me at that point of time.
Mhm.
And yeah, so when being asked to compare, I feel that it's not entirely something that is out of my previous experience, because I'm still dealing with contracts, like I've said, and I'm still dealing with business strategy, and it is a business after all, fashion. It's not just something that I do for hobby. I have staff to feed as well. So those are the things that I have to consider.
Mhm.
So I'm applying a lot of my knowledge in my from my degree in the fashion industry as well.
Okay. So, what kind of law, uh, your knowledge in law that you have applied to your fashion business, has it been a lot, or did you have to learn fashion from the beginning, maybe from scratch, or how does it work when you started? Have you always had a
Okay,
hobby
so
in yeah?
I love to draw from the very young age, and I also love to um, look at things that are aesthetically pleasant.
Mhm.
Buildings. I like to hear things that are nice to hear as well. And again, I like to look at things at a very different perspective, and I see that a lot in fashion. Fashion is it's not just about clothes. It's about a combination of perspective from the designer, the team, and technical skill as well that's been combined together. And I find it fascinating. So I started fashion because of those reasons.
Mhm. And Patrick, what is us speaking and focusing on your designs now? What is your source of inspiration in creating
Mm.
fashion, and who or which things have become your ultimate inspiration while creating your designs?
Okay, it's always about things that happened in my life,
Yeah.
people that I encounter, and how they made me feel at the particular moment of time. And the process varies. It can start from a simple image or anything that touches me and affect my mood and my being. And
Mhm.
or just, it could be just a sudden epiphany as well that I'm, being encountered with when I'm resting, when I'm in my car. Um,
Mhm.
and normally I try to channel all this into my work and even to my team. So my team is like a sponge. They
Uh-huh.
they absorb all I feel and help me through all the things that I am going through, and also assist me to translate it into my final outcome or presentation. And more than that, it's also about the trust that we have for one another that
Mm.
inspire and affect the final outcome of the collection. So yeah, it's everyday life and my team.
And Patrick, from picking out the inspiration that has inspired you in creating the idea for the design towards the end of the destination, which is creating the result of this beautiful inspiration, what has been your step by step process in developing this design concept? Could you tell us?
Normally we start with a mood board, and from a mood board, we would do some fabric engineering. We would also start, try and error on creative fabrics, and from there, we will see, whether or not the application of this fabric would be applicable to our design that is also
Mhm.
being inspired by the mood board, and then conceptualize a show or a photo shoot, and to generate a sincere and genuine story for the audience as well, um, for the final presentation.
And Patrick, moving from your major in law towards fashion, your love for fashion is undoubtedly undeniable. So, what do you love most about being a fashion designer?
What do I love most about fashion designer? Being a fashion designer, it allow me to play in my own platform. Um, I I sort of feel that I have total control in what I'm about to create, and I love to create things. Um, so that is quite a liberation for me, and a lot of things are subjective, but when it's put at the right context, subjectivity can be very relevant as well to the society. And that's something that I really love in fashion.
Mhm. So, considering the amount of time that you have claimed your fame in fashion, what do you think are the pros and cons to being a fashion designer then?
The pro and cons. Okay, first of all, I never think of being, to utilize fashion to create any buzz or fame, but rather to create. It's a platform for me to create and to have my own voice uh, being poured out to the society and to my audience. That's the main objective. And I think that's one of the pro as well. The cons would be there are a lot of things that are still in a template mode at the moment. Um, for instance, doing a show, the format of doing a show, and the format of presentation, presenting a collection, it's still very template uh, within the whole industry. And as an independent designer, we find it very, very hard to break away from that norms and that template. Um, but I guess, it's a process and we're going through it, especially during this pandemic time as well. We are learning a lot. We gained a lot of perspective, and hopefully, you would be able to see that in the upcoming collections. Yeah.
Now, Patrick, could you please tell us a little bit about your background? Where did you grow up? How were you raised? What's your family like?
My background, very simple Chinese uh, family. My parents is they are business people. Um, they are very, very liberated parents, Asian parents, I must say. Um, they give me a lot of freedom in what I want to do. Um, they never push me into things that I would not like to do, and they give me total freedom in the choice of degree that I'm doing, and almost every decision that I make, um it's sort of from ourselves, and there are four of us,
Uh,
four boys in the family, and I'm the number two boy, and it has been a very interesting um, time being with my parents and my siblings as well, because we don't really meet up much. I grew up in Singapore, Riau, Singapore, and then Sydney. My brother was in Bandung, and then Singapore as well. And my third brother is in UK, London now. But we meet at least once a year during Chinese New Year. So
ah,
it's very interesting when we get together. We sort of talk about things that happened to us within that one year, and we felt close. Even that 1 or 2 days, only in that 1 or 2 days period of time. Yeah.
mm. And Patrick, having been raised in Singapore, in 新加坡，那你会讲汉语吗？
会啊，可是我的汉语不是很好。哎，你的汉语讲的蛮好的。
啊，还行还行，我在北京住了大概16年，可是没有在新加坡
哇
住过啊。But Patrick, so you're a
wah.
trilingual then?
Yes,
Bisa
yes,
tiga
but
bahasa.
my Indonesian bisa, tapi bahasa Indonesia justru nggak lancar banget. Ini karena cuman pendidikan SD untuk bahasa Indonesia. Gitu.
Wah, emang kalau untuk orang-orang yang berpindah-pindah ya dan sekolahnya juga di luar, ini bahasa Indonesia seperti kita agak kagok sedikit ya.
Makanya, that's why I chose to speak in English.
That's And Patrick, I saw that early last year you launched a campaign where all purchases from your SS19 collection will be donated to Yayasan Jantung Indonesia, juga Yayasan Mitra Museum Indonesia, Happy Hearts, Art for Refugee, as well as Lions Club Tulip. Can you share with us why did you do this, as well as why?
Okay.
Mm,
Um, First off, I'm one of the board of directors of Happy Hearts Indonesia, and also a member of Mitra Museum Jakarta. Katrina Wardana, who is the one of the founder of Art for Refugee, was
mm,
my campaign um, face at that time, and it makes sense for us to do that with her. Yayasan Jantung, and also Maria Lukito Foundation and Lions Club Tulips. They have been long association with me, but
mm,
why these organizations? Because they all deals with kids. And I am a strong believer in cultivating and uh, prepping the next generation for a better platform, better future, and
mm,
that's why I'm doing that with this organization. And but really, it's more than a charity. Um, Fashion has been about aesthetic, and
mm,
it always will be about aesthetic. But when it's being put into a right context, when fashion exists not just for simple fame or profitable gain, but rather contributing to the society, and also contributing something out of the aesthetic zone itself,
mm,
that makes fashion relevant. And um, and I think the importance of being aesthetically relevant, as well as being relevant to the society, is very important. That goes to the first question that I was answering. A job is not just a job; it's about growth opportunity, and it's also about satisfaction and pride in doing your things. Um,
yeah.
so it's sort of intertwined. Contributing to the society, making a collection that is relevant for the audience, and making some growth. not just to yourself, not just to your team, but to the society as well. It's something that I find it very satisfied.
Mhm. Now, of
Yeah.
course, to accelerate growth, Patrick,
Mm,
your team is undoubtedly very strong in terms of foundation as well as work ethic as well. So, how do you pick your team members to be in this
yeah.
team, you know, the Patrick Owen powerhouse? What kind of work ethic do you believe in to be able to to be able to have them join your world?
I think we talk about leadership here. I think that's the question.
Uh-huh.
I think a good leader needs to be able to convey his own vision to the team well, with clarity and with self-discipline, and also with focus. So I mean, when if you would have to join one of our weekly meeting, it will always be the same question that I'm asking all over again and again, because I feel that mm, as a leader, it's important for us to impart our vision to the team so that they are able to execute what we want, and to
Mhm.
gain perspective from them as well, and not to be afraid of learning from them as well at the same
Mhm.
time, because many a time I've gained a lot of perspective from them through conversation, and be very transparent to them about what I know and what I do not know, and what
Mhm.
we need to know collectively. So to sum up, I think the it's the grit to want to learn, and the disciplined to see through our goal. I think those are the two things that, and another one is honest, full transparency as well in all that we
Mhm.
do. If we don't know, then we have to seek for help. And I think that's what my team is at the moment. Definitely, they are not like that when they first joined, and I wasn't like that as well when I first started fashion. But
Mhm.
it's a process, so there's no immediate dream team at all.
Mhm.
It's a process of like battling with one another, and
Mhm.
to know one another, to learn from one another, and to fight with one another to create such a chemistry altogether.
Now, when it comes to fashion, competition is undoubtedly fierce. So, and there's so much pressure for fashion designers
Mm.
to come out with greatest collections, newest collections, season after season. So, Patrick, how do you handle the stress?
I don't think I'm a good stress manager, but
Uh-huh.
my team and I work hard,
Uh-huh.
very hard. We leap, we jump over impossible hurdles just to achieve multiple goals at one time. Um, we made mistakes, and we also did some great moves, and we
Mhm.
repeat that cycle again and again and again. And during this repetition of cycle, it's almost like an exercise. You build
Mhm.
muscles, and you know how to hustle with problems.
Mhm.
You know, problems will not be a problem in the upcoming collection.
Mhm.
New problem, we'll learn how to hustle with it. Um, I think learning how to hustle, it's a good way to um, sort of handle pressure. I think
Mhm.
when you're stressed, it's when you do not know how to handle problems. So in my team, and including myself, we consistently learn how to solve problems. Um,
Mhm.
Not just designing, because designing is one part of the story for being a fashion house, but solving problems for our audience, solving problems at pandemic times like this is also part of our purview. So again, it goes back to business strategy. It goes to a lot other planning as well. So um, fashion, again, to repeat this, fashion is not just about design. It's also a lot of aspects towards it. It's a business. It's also something that could be relevant to the society. And we learned from there. And I think to be able to repeat those cycle all over again and again, it's very tiring. And the only thing that helped us to get through it would be passion and persistency in our passion.
Now, Patrick, speaking and diving into your stories of hustling, could you tell us your experiences of your most memorable achievements as well as your most memorable failures?
Achievements, we've done a lot of shows in a lot of international platform. Um, at the very beginning stage of my career, that was a great achievement for me. But on a retrospective view right now, I think the achievement would be to be able to call my team members also my family. Um, it's it's something that I never thought I it would happen, but learning how to love them not just as my employee or my team, but uh, as my brother and sister as well in the office, it's something that I I'm very proud of. Yeah.
And what about the mistakes that you've made that has been the most memorable for you?
Mistakes, again, it's the same as well. To to neglect my teammate members. That's also one of my greatest vice in the work. We work very hard, and sometimes we can be the whole team, including myself especially, can be less sensitive towards how people feel and neglect them in a way that was very careless and negligent. Small things like wishing them happy birthday or acknowledging their work and their hard work. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think that is one of the most um, uh, one of the worst failure that I've done in my career, because I mean when it comes to designing clothes, it's not a solo thing. It's the whole team that helps you to execute everything, and they become your family. They're also the contributors of your final outcome. Um, and to see final outcome as the final results, and to judge the final results based on the final outcome itself, it's can be quite demoralizing for the team throughout the process. So yeah, so I think it's important for all creative individuals, and I'm saying that to myself as well, to acknowledge your teammates and to give them the credit that they should. Ultimately, if it is one last look or two last look in a collection, it doesn't kill anyone. So there's no such fuss needed. Yeah.
Excellent. And now, Patrick, diving into your personal style here, could you define to us what is your personal style, as well as what is the definition of the Patrick Owen fashion line?
Um, Patrick Owen has been working a lot collectively with the creative industry as well. We work together with a lot of artists, um, and we like to gain perspective from different cross-disciplinary industries, from graphic designer, from photographers and also from artists itself. Um, and it's an eclectic process. It's also a
Mhm.
very eclectic outcome. Um, I like to dress intellectual women. I like to empower women,
Mhm.
and we also have menswear. And we try to see things in a more binary terms. When it comes to um, women's wearing a suit, we are completely fine with that. And when it comes to a man's wearing a bit more fashionable, a bit more edgier, we are also happy to see that happen in Patrick Owen. And it's always interesting to see how um, Patrick Owen clients has been putting us together with the other designers and the other and integrate us into their life, their daily
Mhm.
life with things that is out of our imagination. So I would say that Patrick Owen um, audience is quite a edgy and adventurous audience as well. They do not
Mhm.
go top to toe. They like to mix and match, and they're very intellectual women and men, and they have their own perspective.
Mhm. And now, Patrick, your collection I've seen has been showcased on various international platforms, and amongst them is the Rakuten Fashion Week in Tokyo, Japan. So, what has been your motivation year after year, as well as can you tell us about your featured collections on the international stage?
Um, it's actually not Rakuten, it's Tokyo Fashion Week.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, but
Uh-huh.
I think this there's no particular motivation, to be honest, like for us to showcase our collection in Hong Kong Fashion Weeks, Seoul Fashion
Mhm.
Week, or Australia Fashion Week. But coming out with a collection is almost like a delivery of your own baby to the world. You nourish it during the pregnancy period, and then you hope that it will be delivered uh, at the best hospital or shelter, and in this
Mhm.
case, platforms. So the only motivation is to, send out my collections um, to these platform at internationally recognized platforms. I think that's the only motivation as a parent.
Mhm.
And the process of sending out the looks in uh, before to the runway, it's almost like a rush delivery process at the backstage all the time. Um, there are a lot of frantic here and there, adrenaline rush as well, and but when it's off to the runway, it's being cut off from you, from your court, and it's completely independent. It became the audience uh, um, show, no longer your show, and it's
Mhm.
also uh, subject to comment from your buyer, your wearer, um, and yeah, it's both a sad and also a joyous moment as well for me. Um, so yeah, that's fashion. So and that's how I feel when I send my collection to uh, these fashion weeks, these international platforms. Uh, so yeah, I don't know whether I'm answering a question, but yeah.
And now, Patrick, having been and having frequently been on an international stage when it comes to fashion, do you bring out Indonesian fashion or style or highlights into your designs when you go out there to present your collection?
I think in yes, for both of my runway on Seoul Fashion Week, Fashion Code, and also another one would be at Japan Fashion Week. Um, for Fashion Code, we collaborated with Anton Ismail, a renowned photographers, to come out with a graphic that looks like flower, a purple flower, but it's actually a formation of a Balinese tarian kecak dance.
Ah,
Um, yeah. So on like just a brief look, it looks like flowers, but if you look at it closely, it's a formation of uh, uh woman bowing down in that circular formation of tarian kecak, and that was being showcased in Seoul, and
mhm,
we collaborated with Darbots to create contemporary batik pattern, parang, and
mhm,
we showcased it in Tokyo Fashion Week. Yeah.
mhm. And having, you know, you brought all those Indonesian highlights and then you fused them with your designs in your collection. How do you think the global market sees Indonesia's
Hmm.
creation?
I think it has been an overwhelming positive response. It's fantastic. I think there's so much untouched and undiscovered language in Indonesia, and
Mhm,
being connected with our own native language. When I talk about language, it encompasses um, cultures, art, and many other things as well, um, to the rest of the world to witness. It's refreshing to them, and I feel that it's also a way to get fashion out of just being an aesthetic a preview, but also fashion that is connected with the society, teaching cultures, teaching art, and spreading art and knowledge from one country to another. I think that's the way to go.
mhm. And Patrick, as we can see, due to the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, what's been trending these days is, of course, a virtual fashion show. Have you participated in such trends?
Yes, we created our own campaign. That
Mhm,
was Patrick Owen Quarantine Diary 2020. Um, we have gotten a lot of friends, editor-in-chiefs as well, to support this cause. And I think that was before Lebaran, like a week before Lebaran. It was a series of t-shirt and a witty t-shirt with graphical print that can relate to a lot of audience. Um, and it was a very memorable virtual presentation that I've done, um, because so many people participated in it,
mhm,
friends, celebrity friends, um, influencers, editor-in-chief, and photographers, stylists,
mhm,
videographers. We all came together and just merged within a week to have that production, and it was a huge um, success, I think, because um, and also modeling agency as well. They all came in to contribute to this show, and it was very comforting because at difficult times, people coming together to work together to encourage our audience to spread positivities digitally. It was it will not be possible if it wasn't a complete 100% trust and support from all these people. So
mhm,
I think pandemic has gave me a lot of knowledge and perspective, and letting me know who are my friends and who are supporting all this well, and reminding me again So it was very comforting and I'm glad that I did that virtual presentation.
Excellent. And you said it was so memorable and participation was definitely present. So if you had to choose, Patrick, would you prefer having it virtual now that you've done it and you've seen it and you've grown it compared to the regular fashion shows that you've had in the past? What were the differences and which ones would you prefer as a fashion designer yourself?
Mm, it's a two different comparison. Definitely, virtual fashion show has addressed a lot of fashion sustainability issues. We A lot less production and waste involved in virtual presentation, but it's very different. I mean, I do kind of miss actual fashion show presentation. It's the reaction, the the atmosphere at the backstage, and having to interact with models on first-hand basis. That is very different. But I'm not saying that virtual is any lesser. Again, I
Mhm,
think the question here is to be able to adapt in the current situation, and
mhm,
whether or not it will be our long-term format of presentation, we're still not
mhm,
sure. But we continuously learn, and we
mhm.
continuously seek for more knowledge and perspective from the others as well, from the industry and outside of the industry. Um, so yeah, let's see what will happen next.
And Patrick, how do you see the potential of Indonesia being the largest economy in Southeast Asia? How do you see the potential of Indonesia's fashion industry in the coming years?
Um, I do not like to predict. For us, in our team, uh,
Mhm,
we like to continuously work hard and present a different language, different perspective to the industry. But as a industry collectively and hopefully cohesively as well, I would like to see the fashion industry in Indonesia
mhm,
to grow more sustainably
mhm.
before it's all too late. Because
Okay.
you see, COVID has sped up digitalization, and Black Lives Matter cost lives and riots to speed up diversification issues in the fashion
Mhm,
industry. I hope that in the upcoming years and hopefully speedily, um, there's no one factor that will corner the fashion industry or any one of us to the road of a much more sustainable fashion. And it's not just about um, making clothes for fashion industry in Indonesia. I feel that when we go towards much more sustainable fashion, a lot more waste are reduced, inefficiencies are reduced, and the potential to grow as an industry in Indonesia would also increase by multiple times if we
mhm,
adopt this sustainability format as soon as possible, especially for undeveloped developed countries like Indonesia. The potential is huge to explore, to collaborate, and to put ourselves in the global map. The chances of us being spotted uh, as a country in the fashion from the fashion industry or any other industry, it's huge
mhm,
because there's only so much there's so much that we can grow as developing countries.
mhm. Excellent. Thank you so much, Patrick. And I wish you only the best of luck. And I cannot wait to soon watch your next virtual show. And Well, jayo, and let us all survive this pandemic until it's all over. And cannot wait to soon be participating in your regular fashion shows as well. Thank you so much, Patrick, for your time.
Thank you so much. All right, bye.
Bye. Well, semuanya, jangan kemana-mana. Tetap hadir bersama kami karena selanjutnya masih banyak sesi lagi di Indonesia Online Festival. We'll be right back.